Coming up, news from the exciting season opener of the men's basketball season.
Plus, a check-in on notable NFL rookies halfway through the season.
I'm AJ Lee.
And I'm Henry Isenberg.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now. It is truly a great time as a sports fan with the NFL seasons ramping up and the beginning of basketball season finally upon us.
And with that crazy first week of the college basketball season, with upsets and buzzer beaters, it's feeling like March in early November.
You can say that again. Now it's time for a Loyola Sports Update with the Rambler Rundown. Gianna, take it away.
From buzzer beaters to season finales, the Ramblers have had an action-packed week. Men's basketball had an exciting game for Monday's season opener, and we'll have more on that later. Women's volleyball suffered a close loss to the St. Louis Billikens Tuesday night, losing 3-2. They will close their home season this weekend versus Rhode Island. Women's basketball earned their first win of the season Monday night, defeating Milwaukee 59-55. Next, they will be on the road to play UConn on Wednesday. Men's soccer fell 1-0 to Dayton on Saturday night at Beaujean Field, closing out the 2025 season. The women's soccer postseason run came to an end last Saturday after a hard loss to St. Louis. They fell 6-0 in the Atlantic 10 tournament. While the season may be over, the pride for our Rambler talent is not. On Tuesday afternoon, 3 Loyola women's soccer athletes were awarded Atlantic 10 All-Conference honors. Junior forward Zoe Heavey is the second Rambler ever to be on the All-A-10 first team and secured her place on the All-Academic team as well. Sophomore Allison Deerdorf earned a spot on the second team, and freshman defender Abby Sudkamp was named to the All-Rookie team. That's all for this week's Rambler Rundown. Now, Kirstan Richardson has more on the men's season opener.
The first game of the season for men's basketball was jam-packed with action. The Ramblers faced the Cleveland State Vikings at Gentile, and throughout the game, it looked like both teams had a chance to win. A Miles Rubin dunk at the top of the game didn't scare the Vikings. They had an impressive 10-0 run against the Ramblers before the 16-minute media timeout. Daewuk Tavares came out of the timeout knocking in 2 threes. After back-and-forth offense, the first half ended with the Ramblers down 51-50. In the second half, the Ramblers started to separate themselves, thanks to Chuck Love III with a three-pointer and Kimani Winsu with a dunk. But the Vikings didn't go without a fight, making an 11-0 run to take the lead 81-80 with less than 4 minutes left of the game. It was a nail-biter at Gentile, with fans getting nervous. A lead from the Ramblers turned into a tie at 88 with a few seconds left. A pass from Justin Moore gave Tavares enough room to hit a buzzer-beater 3 to win the game 91-88. The Ramblers' next home game will be against Colorado State on November 16th at 4 p.m. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kirstan Richardson.
Thanks, Kirstan. Now for the return of Sideline Chats, Natalie King is here with Loyola student, triathlete Billy Wade.
Hello and welcome back to our next episode of Sideline Chats. Today I have a very special guest here today. Billy Wade here is a senior at Loyola, but is also a student triathlete. So he's going to talk about what that means to be a student and such a high-level triathlete. So I know you just completed your second ever triathlon, actually in the UK, in Windsor. So can you tell me more about that and how that race went?
Thank you for asking, Natalie. It was a long trek because triathletes don't just do them. There's a series of training that needs to take place also. So I started training back in June, and over time you can almost decipher, what type of triathlon would you like to do, because there are 3 to 4 different levels. So I did what's called the Olympic Tri, which is kind of a middle ground, but for a lot of people it was a beast of its own. So it starts off with a around 1 mile swim, 40-kilometer bike, and then a 10-kilometer run. So over those 4 months, just training slowly and accruing that basis in which I could handle it later on, and eventually decided to commit to this one over in Windsor.
And then I understand that this triathlon took place in the venue for the London Olympics. Can you tell me more about what that meant to be competing in such a cool venue?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. It was surreal because you're there and you're looking at the Olympic rings, and it's a whole entire, pavilion and community that's been built up around this stadium. And as we were under the shadow of Windsor Castle where the Royals live, and you're swimming, where all the crew boats were taking place for the Olympics, it was really special to be a part of that, as well as the fact that they're constantly maintaining and upkeeping this facility. And part of the reason they hold these triathlons there is so that they're keeping this facility in great shape for races and swims and bikes overall.
And then, so you're sponsored as a triathlete. What does that mean? What is that process like?
Yeah. So after my first triathlon, I decided I was going to try and get some sponsorships, especially doing one that's abroad. It was my goal to cultivate, a body of knowledge from my communities, whether it's bike shops, athletes that I knew, to try and gain a sponsorship. Fortunately, back home, I work at a ski and bike shop, and I was asking them and inquiring about representatives for the bike brand that I ride, which is Specialized, as well as their shop themselves. So I was very fortunate that Philbricks, my bike shop, was able to sponsor me, and that was an extremely helpful factor for getting me all the way over there, as well as the entry fees that are associated with these races, because they don't just happen.
And then I know you have some hardware here. Do you want to show off your medal for everyone real quick?
Yeah, so this is my medal from this Olympic try, and it's customary that you get one right at the end and they'll put it on you because you feel like you're about to keel over and die. But just before I did that, they placed this on me, which was very nice.
And then I'm sure the training is very intense. It's a very intense process. Can you describe what that process is like?
Yeah, so it's odd for me because I come from New Hampshire, so I'm a New Englander at heart, which means I've got mountains and I've got lakes, and I even swam in the ocean before I was coming back here for the training in Chicago, which is similar and different in certain ways. At Loyola, we have this beautiful lakefront in front of us, and 2-3 mornings a week I would go to Sullivan, hop the fence, and then scroll down, scurry down the little rocks, and then do my 1 or 2 mile swim in front of the lakeshore. So you're constantly trying to cultivate your portfolio of, different disciplines and keeping consistency, because it's not about doing every single discipline every single day. It's about dividing it up, holding a schedule, and then doing well over time.
And how do you balance being a student and doing this training?
That's a great question. The easy answer is I don't. I typically have to sacrifice a few papers or some late nights, but oftentimes, as with, I'm a senior at Loyola, you develop the fact that getting up in those mornings, that's the key time that you're going to be using. And similarly, swimming in Lake Michigan, it's at its smoothest and its calmest when you're up at 6, 7 in the morning. So I could take advantage of that time and especially get my runs and bikes in during the sunrise as well.
And then what's next for you? Is there another triathlon coming up on the horizon?
I appreciate you asking, yeah. So no triathlons right now. I do triathlons in the summer season is what I'm deciphering. I had done the Chicago Marathon, so I'm thinking about doing that again. And basically in the winter times, I take that off because I mountaineer back home. So I'll be doing my mountaineering. And then around February or March, I'll be thinking about my opportunities for this coming summer.
And then I know you're also very active on YouTube and you create a lot of content from your races. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so my YouTube is Billy Wade 1, and overall I just like to document what I do, especially with things abroad, and then cultivate some videos and vlogs just to upload for my friends and the circles around me to enjoy.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. It was great to talk to you, hear about this process and the training. I wish you luck in the rest of your training. Definitely go follow Billy's YouTube channel to check out more of what he's going to be up to in the future. Thanks. Sending this back to the anchors.
Thanks, Natalie. Now Joe Mangold will discuss some of the NFL rookies halfway through the year.
Hello, Ramblers. We have hit the midseason of the NFL, and today I am looking at my booms and busts of the rookies. But before that, we need to address the heartbreaking news. Yesterday, 24-year-old Dallas Cowboy player Marshawn Kneeland passed away. According to the Texas Department of Safety, Kneeland passed away after a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Rambler Sports Locker's thoughts are with Kneeland's family and loved ones. With that, now I will go over my booms and busts for offensive defense. The Cleveland Browns and Nick Chubb parted ways last season, and many wondered who the Browns would find to replace him. Well, their solution came in the boom of the 2025 NFL Draft, running back Quinshon Judkins. He has put up great numbers despite missing the season opener. Judkins has 486 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. He's 1 yard behind Ashton Jeanty and 2 rushing touchdowns ahead of him. For a second-round pick, that's a boom. Next is an unexpected starter for the Ravens. Teddy Buchanan was the 129th pick in the draft. After showing strong potential, Buchanan became a starter despite being a 4th rounder. Having 30 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and half a sack in 1 month earned Buchanan the spot on this list. Being a 4th rounder and doing this well is a boom. Now moving on to the bust of the draft. The New England Patriots also drafted a running back in the 2nd round. The Patriots took Travion Henderson at the 38th pick. Henderson has had a disappointing season with only 283 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. You can argue that it's because of the lack of attempts at only 67, but if that's the case, why has RJ Harvey with less carries been more efficient? Harvey was another second-round pick drafted at the Broncos with a 60th spot. Harvey has only 46 carries, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also has better yards per carry than Henderson. Despite less yards, Harvey is only 80 yards behind him. Overall, Henderson has not lived up to the expectation and is the offensive bust. Last but certainly not least is Shamar Stewart. Stewart is the only first-round pick on this list, being 17th overall. Stewart gained publicity for holding out on his contract with the Bengals and being the first rounder. It seemed he would be a monster holding out on a contract. Well, if you consider 6 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, no sacks, no fumbles, and no interceptions, the stats of a monster, then I don't know what to tell you. Stewart has not lived up to his name and resume he built up in college. With all that, it would not surprise me if Henderson and Stewart eventually gain footing in the league, but they have a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, Judkins is proving why he should have been a first-round running back. And, of course, Boucher is proving why he is a starter and beginning to dominate. All 4 players, and 5 if you include the mentioned Harvey, have potential. And like my list last year, only time will show if these players truly will become dominant. From Rambler Sports Locker, this is Joe Mangold, signing off.
Thanks, Joe. Now Kim Flores has an update on Chicago's soccer scene.
Thanks, AJ. The Chicago Fire's return to the MLS Cup playoffs didn't last as long as fans had hoped. The Fire were eliminated after a tough 3-0 loss to the Philadelphia Union. Right from kickoff, Union came out flying. They scored in just 8 minutes of a quick counterattack, catching Chicago's backline completely off guard. And before the Fire could settle in, Philly scored 2 more goals during the 16th and 35th minutes. They were both of a lack of defense that left goalkeeper Chris Brady with no real chance to stop them. After that, it was in the Fire's hands to play their cards right. They held 60% of possession and outshot Philadelphia, but none of that mattered if they couldn't turn the chances into goals. The Fire did create some looks through Brian Gutierrez and Hugo Kuipers, but the finishing just wasn't there. And that's really what defined the loss, the execution. Philadelphia was composed and clean, whereas Chicago, like in their first playoff run since 2017, still looked like a team learning how to handle that kind of pressure. Still, there's a lot to take away from the season. The Fire finally broke their playoff drought, and that win over Orlando City marked their first postseason victory since 2009. Yes, the 3-0 score stings, but it's not the end of the story. Some would say it's the start of a new era. If this team can tighten it up defensively and keep building up around their up-and-coming players, then Chicago could be back in the same spot next year, stronger, sharper, and ready to advance. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kim Flores.
Thanks, Kim. Let's hope the Fire can come back even better next year. It's now time for everyone's favorite segment, to Joe Mangold with the Ramble.
Hello, Ramblers, and welcome back to the Ramble. I'm with AJ Strohmeyer and AJ Lee. I guess we have a battle of the AJs. Loyola's big sports are starting up, and the men's and women's basketball teams both won their season openers. So with that, we're doing Loyola Sports Trivia. Let's see who is the true Rambler. For a disclosure, some of these questions are a bit more difficult, so if it is a question about a certain year or years, I will give a point to the closest answer. Now, starting off, Loyola, of course, has been around for a while, and we got a little bit of controversy in one of our mascots. It was before Lou Wolf. Now, can you guys name what kind of mascot that was, or what the name was? This will be interesting. Got about 10 more seconds or so. All right. All right, you guys want to both show the camera? So technically, we were looking for a hobo, but homeless man, of course, is close enough, which means we have a tie already. It's 1-1. Now, we all know Sister Jean will forever be the best part of Loyola that we ever had. Now, she was with us for quite a while. How many years or so was it? Doesn't have to be exact, but if you can guess it, kudos to you. 75, 86. As far as I'm concerned, the answer is roughly 72, which means AJ Lee gets the point, which means Lee 2, Strohmeyer 1. Now, Loyola throughout this season has lost a few players to the transfer portal. One of our star players, Jaden Dawson. Wow, all right, he's writing before I even got the question off. Question's going to be, where did Jaden Dawson end up transferring to? You got confidence.
I didn't look at the questions. I mean,
You hopefully didn't. All right, share your answers. It was Kansas. He's a Kansas Jayhawk. Now, guys, a little while ago, Loyola women's team played the Green Bay Phoenix, the team they are playing tonight. They lost that game. Now, do we know what year that game was? I will say it wasn't the 2000s, but it was before we were all here. You got to give a guess. Come on.
Yeah,
I believe in you guys. Could Strohmeyer make the comeback? That's the question. All right, you guys want to show the answers? The answer was 2017, which means Lee is currently winning 3-1.
4. 4-2.
4-2?
Right?
No.
Oh. Did we not both get a point for Kansas?
Oh, yeah, you did. You know what? Guys, my math is off today. I mean, it just goes to show. Sometimes it's just a little bit difficult. Now, in 2018, Loyola played against a certain team in the first round of March Madness. They won with a buzzer beater. What ACC school was that?
Oh, wait.
Oh, you want to share your answers? Looks like AJ's lead is growing larger and larger. It is 5-2. AJ Lee. His lead is growing larger. Look at that, where we're playing today. The answer was University of Miami. Now, next up, there are two teams that are considered the rivals to Loyola in the A10. Do you guys know those two teams? Each team's worth a point. Obviously, I'm not going to give only 1 point for two teams. Let's see if you guys know it. All right, you two got it both correct. If you want to show your answers, it was Dayton and SLU, which means the score is now, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it should be 8-4.
I think that's correct.
Hey, see, look, I'm learning here, guys. It's not that difficult. All right, now, Loyola was not always a part of the A10. Can you guys name the last conference they were a part of before they transferred? Man, you were just rapid fire with this. I'm kind of impressed.
I can do the one before it, too.
Yep.
Wow. All right, the answer was Missouri Valley, which means both of you are correct, and it is now 9-5. Now, this could be AJ's chance to come back. Which AJ? At this point, I honestly don't know. Now, as you both mentioned, you can name the other conferences they were a part of. They were a part of 3. Can you name all 3 conferences Loyola was a part of before the A10 and Missouri Valley?
No.
No. All right, well, at least you're confident in if you know it or not.
It's a tough
I mean, technically there's 4, I will say that, because one of them's a conference, but technically not considered a conference. If that makes any sense.
I can just do one.
You just got one?
I'm,
All right.
I'm happy with that.
Show your answers. One of the answers was Horizon League, and another answer was the Independent, which means it is now 10-7. Close game here. But the other 2 conferences, surprisingly enough, and I didn't even know this, are the Men's Midwestern Collegiate Conference and the Men's Midwestern City Conference. Let's face it, I mean, come on. We tried our best here. Now, I did mention it earlier. Let's see how well you guys paid attention to detail. In the last matchup between the Green Bay Phoenix and the Loyola Ramblers, who won the game? I mentioned it earlier. I want to see if you guys are actually keeping up. This could be the tiebreaker, even though it's not a tie. All right. You both got it right again. It is the Green Bay Phoenix. Sadly, they did beat us. With that, AJ, you're the winner. By honestly a clear sweep, a little bit surprising, but I mean, this is why everyone's afraid to take you on. You constantly are winning like this.
They call me the Shohei Ohtani of the Ramble, you know?
All right, good to know. Great job today, everyone. Strohmeyer, Lee, it was great to have you guys on, and hopefully you guys can come back soon. Now let's stop rambling and let's just pass this one on to the anchor.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Rambler Sports Locker. To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Henry Isenberg. We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.